Welcome, welcome. This is Orphise Rodriguez. We are on episode 4 of Career Boost. In this podcast, we usually talk about leadership, management, skills, and talent. Well, we pick these topics because I think they're making things easier for you in your career, in your professional life. Today we are very happy to welcome Dr. Rana Mustafa. She's a leadership coach, a positive intelligence coach, and a food scientist. She's joining us for part 2. We had part 1 on diversity and inclusion. We really think these topics are important for leaders, for managers, who want to work, who want to help us make the workplace a better environment. So today we're in this part 2, we're talking about marginalized people. Okay, how can we support these people? How can we support them? Okay, so Dr. Rana, we're continuing this conversation, and now we're really focusing on these marginalized people, these marginalized groups. These people may struggle really with imposter syndrome, self-doubt, generally speaking, a lot of people may feel like they don't belong where they are. They're feeling that they're cheating people with their positions or whatnot, because they feel really special being where they are. And so my question really is, how can we alleviate this self-doubt, this sense that you don't deserve your promotion, or you don't deserve to be where you are? You have to compete with other people, especially in the workplace. Things are getting really tough for people. For some people I know, it's really competition, and you have to build this confidence. You have to build this strength, really, to be comfortable and speak up and show up as a leader, really. What are your advice for people who really struggling with this imposter syndrome and self-doubt?
Well, thank you so much for this question. As we mentioned previously, I am a leadership and positive intelligence coach, right?
Yes.
So when someone asks me this question, I'm not going to give an advice because I am a coach. I'm certified by the International Coaching Federation. So we ask questions. So let's play this now. Let's do things differently. Okay. So I have thoughts and I will answer your question. But first of all, I'm curious about what do you think we can do to support those people in being more confident, feeling more supported by their job environment? How can we support marginalized people? I am curious about learning from you. And then I will be more than happy to share my thoughts with you as well.
Thank you, Dr. Rana. I personally, I think, in my coaching program, what I usually do and what I usually start with are personality tests. I really think we all have our own strength. We all have our own leadership potential. In fact, leadership is something that we learn. Really, it's not something that we are born with. And I think it's a good news, to be honest. It's good news to know that we can all learn to be leaders. We can all learn to have charisma. In fact, this is one of the concepts that we learn and we mentor on in the Inspired Woman Lead program, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And so what I do in my coaching programs really is I start always with a personality test, because I want people to see what they really are strong with, what they can bring, what their unique skills are. And oftentimes what they do is, when they complete the test, they're always so surprised. Oh my God, I didn't, well, this I knew about myself, but well, when I see it written, I realized that I have more, there's more to me than I even imagined. And in that personality, this personality test, you can also say, you can also see what type of leaders you would be. You know, how different would you be from other leaders, from other managers? What is your management style? And so we don't have to replicate the same criteria, the same scheme as everyone else. I think when you start comparing yourself with others, that's when you struggle. That's when you feel at odds with, you know, with yourself, because you feel like you have to compare, you have to be as good as, you know, such and such. And yes, this is I think my advice. And in terms of, well, if you want to be to step into this leadership role, I think um, try to work on self-awareness. Who are you? Find your strength. Find your own. Be yourself more than anything. Just be yourself. What do you
Mhm.
think? Yeah.
Great. It's really great to hear that from you. And as a coach as well, I do kind of similar things.
Mm,
Um, so for people who came from different background or minorities or marginalized, as you mentioned, sometimes we feel more than anyone else
mm,
those self-doubts, those negative thoughts that in positive intelligence training, we call them saboteurs.
mm,
So, for example, I can give you an example. As a highly qualified woman, scientist, a PhD graduate, a university professor, I was always looking to achieve something.
mm,
So when I came to Canada, it was hard for me to find my own place. So I thought it's all about achievement, work hard, networking, etc. But it came out, it turned to be like very hard on me emotionally because I'm working so hard, right? So you need the first step is self-awareness.
mm,
And once we are aware of our own negative thoughts or saboteurs,
mm.
we need to ask for help.
Yes.
It's never easy to manage our life on our own. And this is where mentors and coaches are necessary.
Mm,
So, for example, if I want to go for certain jobs, I need to have mentors in that area where they can share their expertise with me. I also think that having a coach with whom we can think and have accountability partner to achieve certain goals are those all like those steps are very important. In my coaching program, we start by self-assessment. And once people are aware of their own thoughts pattern, it's not like today I feel not good and that's it. I'm like, I have those saboteurs. No, we look at pattern.
mm,
If you, every time you are hired, you feel that people are taking advantage of you or people are looking at you in a negative way, etc., etc. So look at your past as so to just have that self-awareness of patterns.
mm,
And then the next step will be, what is your vision?
mm,
What's your vision in life? After 30 years, where do you want to be?
mhm,
And the third step in that journey, who do you want to take with you?
mm,
Maybe now I want to take two mentors and one coach.
mhm,
And once I am a leader, I will change those mentors because I moved in a different direction. I need different mentors. I need different coaches. I need different people in my network to support me. So having that growth or learner mindset is very helpful, even for us before we move to leadership position.
Yes.
And when we move to leadership position, because even if we got that management position or leadership position, we might look at people in a different way. Oh, they think that I'm not good enough. I cannot lead them. I cannot be the speaker. I cannot teach them this class, etc., etc. So we will have those self-doubts.
Yes.
And this is why it's very important to identify those saboteurs.
Yes.
And the first one is the judger. We human, we judge ourselves, or we judge others or the circumstances. So being aware of those thoughts and judgment moment, and turn it, like stop and turn it to learner mode, will make a lot of difference in our life.
This is very, very strong. And I think it's really you cannot change anything if you're not aware of how you speak to yourself, really. So how do you communicate to yourself really will impact also how you communicate with others, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
you have to be respectful of who you are. You have to be comfortable with who you are. Before you try and be also a role model, I would say a good positive leader or spirit for other people. And I really like what you're doing. I think you're right on spot. I think I talked about this personality test, and you talk about a thought process. So at the end of the day, it's really self-awareness.
Absolutely.
It comes through different forms, absolutely. And you cannot step into the leadership role without actually being good with who you are. You have to be confident. You have to be confident. And when you're confident, I think you're not threatened by other people who are doing well in your team. On the contrary, you're looking for complementary skills, right?
See, this is a very important point. Thank you. So how to be confident? So when you are self-aware, right? So for example, I can give you a very simple example. You come near the stove, you put your hand on the stove, you feel the heat when the stove is on. So that feeling, this is the self-awareness. So if you are aware, you take your hand away from the stove and you do something. If you are not aware, you will leave your hand on the stove and you will burn your hand. So this is exactly what we are talking about. First step is self-awareness. You know what's the next? It's courage. Being courageous enough, brave enough to say, you know what? I'm not good at this, but I'm trying to improve.
Thank you so much, Rana. Thank you so much, Dr. Rana. When I when I launched my business, the first thing I told my father, okay, I said, you know what, Dad, I want to start a business and I want to help leaders. I want to help managers. I want to make them better leaders, better managers, because you learn a profession, you learn to be a good scientist, you learn to be a good mathematician, a good HR. You're good at your role, at your profession, but learning to be a leader, a manager is something else. And he told me, but do you think these people are gonna ask for your help? I mean, usually their ego is so huge, they're not gonna ask for your help. I said, I know, but I'm hopeful. So you were right on spot, as in how do you approach this type of management programs in organizations? And the question people ask me is, I mean, who hires you? Are the managers looking for you? Are they, I mean, trying to get hired, or is it the organization doing the job of recruiting recruiting consultants or coaches for them. And so the next question is really, how can organizations, create this culture of mentoring and sponsoring, new leaders, and not necessarily think of it as a cost, but really as a gain for them.
Mhm.
What is your experience with that? I really, really am interested in your experience.
Can I also act as a coach now? So I love the question, and I would love to hear from you as well. Like, what do you think? Why do you think any manager or leader need to come to any coach? Why it's important for them to hire coaches or mentors?
Hmm. Um, I'm putting on my HR hat here because
Yeah.
as yes, I am a recruiter, I am a coach, but first and foremost, I'm an HR specialist, really. And when we talk about people, talent development, um, we really have to think of them as assets. We think of them as um, our resources for the company. And when these resources are happy, when these people are good and happy and comfortable in their role, they will help the business thrive. And so for me, there's no question in terms of investing in our people, in making them comfortable and invested in the company. And I want people to succeed at their role, and I don't want people to thrive to be struggling. And so, really, I think the investment for me is not even a question mark; it's a must. Um, and when you see the gains, when you're able to express the gains, the benefits that it will bring to the business, then there's a way really to convince the financial advisors or whatnot that this is a good investment. And I think I should try harder. In my position, I think I should try harder, and this is why I'm also doing this sort of this type of event, this type of podcast, so we can really bring this type of topics in the table. And I want people to listen and be aware of how important, how beneficial it could be for them.
That's great. Absolutely. It's raising awareness about the
Raising
importance
awareness.
of coaching. It's great. What you mentioned is really great. What you are doing about organizing events or podcast or talking, it's all about raising awareness on the importance of coaching to any person and any organization. And in fact, let me tell you this story.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine I am doing a self-paced course.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that it's hard for human to prioritize and do that self-paced course if there is no deadline. You will put everything on top and do everything and leave it at the end of your to-do list.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a coach, you will not only have a sounding board, someone who you talk to, you have more clarity, etc. You have also accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of achieving a goal, let's say your plan is to achieve the goal in 1 year. With
Mm-hmm.
a coach, you can achieve it in 3 months or 4 months. What does it mean is at the end of the day, the return on investment is huge. So at the end, companies will gain time and financial wealth and
Mm-hmm.
wellness for their employees when they hire coaches and mentors. Yes, it's investment, but look at the return on investment. So everything will be exactly better than anyone can expect.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's like you are holding a like a piece of wood, and it's very big. So if you use your hand to break it, it's hard. But if you use a tool or more than one person try to break it, it's easier. And this is exactly, it's coaching, it's helping, enabling people to achieve their goal faster.
Mhm.
So when people that put in mind that the final result is time and financial wealth, and those two things come with wellness all the
Mhm.
time.
Mhm. And you know, I think I in my experience in the previous organizations that I worked in, I realized that, well, we did, for example, programs for like with 360 degree performance appraisals. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Mm.
Of course, I'm sure you are. And so I mean, these tools were really used for senior levels, like head of, you know, head of programs or head of countries and so on. But they were not accessible for less, you know, less senior people. And when you think that, unfortunately, some people, marginalized groups, or less represented at the, you know, in those senior positions, when they're less in the, they don't have as many opportunities to grow and to get promoted in the organization, they're oftentimes the ones who are not getting or benefiting from this type of programs. And so I know that, for example, there are organizations who also offer, like, for example, coaching or psychological support for well-being when there are crises. When there are crises, they do have people available for their staff, and they do have a budget for that. But not everyone knows about it. So even when they're in the crisis, they don't even know that the organization has a budget for this sort of thing. And so why wait for a crisis? Why wait for things to get bad to invest and let them know that this is available? So I think in terms of communication, I'm sure organizations have sort of some sort of budget for development, for growth, and so on, and make it available for people who actually want to develop themselves and say, you know what, this year, this is the package that we have for our staff in general. And if you're interested in developing yourselves, here you have it, you know. And you don't actually you don't have to explode your budget. I'm sure you already have a budget. And so when people feel that they have these resources available already, it motivates them. It really feels them, it makes them feel special. It makes them feel that the organization really invested in them, and they're invested, and they're not just talking about well-being as a concept, but really as a true thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Um, I really like the idea of like the opportunities for different people with different um, budget.
Yeah.
So I would like to hear from you, like in Europe, you are in Europe.
Yes, I'm in
So
Switzerland.
what do you what are your advice for people who are looking to self-improve and they think they don't have enough budget to hire a coach?
For their organizations, you mean?
No, for individual or organization.
Um, I mean, for it's a different thing. For organizations, like I said, I'm sure they already have a budget. They have a budget for crisis management and so on. So instead of like just investing this money for crisis management, they can actually invest in developing right from the start.
Yeah.
That's for individuals who are looking for coaching. I know it might sound like a budget, but when you think about it, maybe you spend as much money for for sport activities. It's for your well-being, isn't it? So you can evenly share your cost for not just for your gym, but also for your mental health, for your professional career growth. And it's really how you allocate your budget throughout the year, I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
I love it. I love it. And in fact, as I am in Canada, So in Canada, we have two possibilities. The first one is the government support and free resources. Well, they are free for people, but the government paid for that, right?
Yeah.
However, you mentioned something very important, that people don't know about those resources.
Yes.
And this is what I always try to talk about it with people who come to me and say, I don't have money to hire you as a coach. What do you think? I say, okay, you have two options. The first one is to act like a researcher. Be courageous enough and act like a researcher. Go out there and look for organizations or people who accept to coach you for free. You might have different skill set. You
Yeah.
exchange a skill set with other person. For example, say I like painting. I can paint you a painting and you can coach me for 1 or 2 hours, etc. So
Yeah.
you can do exchange of service. There are so many people out there who are so nice and they want to offer some of their free time as a service to the community. And I personally, I do that a lot. Like I offer 30 minutes free coaching. If anyone comes to me and say, I don't have budget or I want to just to try it, I say, okay, try it. Why don't you use these resources? So we have so many resources available, but unfortunately, many people don't even try.
Yes, that's true.
The second option is where to invest. I got asked by so many people, can you coach me? I say, sure. When we mention the cost of or the investment, they say, oh, it's expensive. I say, yeah, sure. However, if you are looking for career guide and you are looking for a job, and now you are not working or you are working on a job you don't like. So if you are not working on the job that you love, how much money you are leaving on the table every month? Make your calculation. At the end of the day, it's cheaper, right? So I think it's at the end of the day, it's awareness and mindset. We need to shift our mindset in that AI age to know what matters, where we want to be in a few years, and how to get there. Because if we don't do it, someone else will be faster than us and they will arrive faster and we will lose what we were hoping to get. We really need, it's a very competitive world nowadays. It's the AI age. We need to work
Yeah.
on what we want to be or what we want to achieve.
Thank you so much for these ideas. And I know Canada is a country that really invests in its people. There's a really good feedback. I mean, good echo on what the governments are doing over there. In Switzerland, it's a little bit different, as in, yes, you can get some coaching if you're some sort of a governmental program. It's not always available, but it can be available. And I think the peer-to-peer mentoring is pretty good. That's a very good advice.
Yeah, and in fact, look at the Inspired Women
And
League.
women lead, exactly.
So we joined the Inspired Women Lead as mentees,
Yes,
and now we are giving back by being mentors. So
exactly.
there are so many organizations out there, and I think there are so many resources.
Yeah.
We just need to just have that courage to ask
Yes.
and do our research. And I
Yeah.
think it's all about what, like, I always feel that I need to know where do I want to be after 10 years?
Mm-mm-mm.
And I will be always guided by that goal. If
Mm-mm-mm.
I wanted to be a leader, I wanted to be a manager, I was able to do it. I wanted to be a coach, I was able to do it. So your goal, your intuition guides you. But it's just that self-awareness and identifying your purpose, your vision, and your goals. All of that, if we are making that picture, painting it all together, it's easy to act and navigate towards our future.
Thank you so much again, Dr. Rana. So we reached the 30 minutes. One last word. How can we find you? Is it through LinkedIn? If our listeners they want to reach out to you?
Absolutely. I'm on LinkedIn. I have my newsletter, leadership for Leadership Lab for Scientists, where I publish bi-weekly articles about leadership coaching. They can contact me through LinkedIn, and my website is almost ready. It will be ready soon, but I think everyone is on LinkedIn now, and they can just message me, and I can share my link tree with you. Anyone can book a free 30 minutes appointment or sign up with my coaching business to learn more about what I offer.
Yes, yes, yes. And thank you for Inspired Woman Lead. I just wanted to give them a little heart, send them a little heart for putting us in contact through this mentoring program. It's really amazing to be able to serve other women around the world and to connect also with other women who are really looking to expand and grow in their career.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Rana, and we'll be in touch. Thank
Thank
you,
you. It was my
listeners.
pleasure.
Goodbye. Thank you.